James Lavine, manager of Multimedia Digital, Lockheed Martin. I think that cost still is a significant factor despite the broad adoption. I think at least for us, to continue to roll out more displays into more areas, the costs for the computers, the software, I think it's too expensive still. I think really they're going to have to figure out a way to reduce some of those costs. I happen to see a vendor, I won't name the name, but they give out the software, they give out the solution, and they charge in other ways. I think that's a really interesting idea, and I think it might be a viable way to get more adoption, to broaden the adoption. So I really think the cost is a major hurdle right now. This probably sounds partial because I mean corporate communications, but I would say corporate communications. I really think that having talked with a lot of other corporate communicators in our industry and even outside of our industry, you're seeing a lot more emphasis on employee communications using digital signage as a powerful venue for that. So I would say corporate comms. I think this may not sound all that, I don't know, it may be irrelevant, I think, for many of the attendees, but I really believe that quality content is what's still being missed. I think rich content, high production value content that can compete with, like CNN or Fox that have that sort of rich quality, but without obviously, spending money on trying to get their content on your network or anything like that. I mean, really, we're doing some research right now and trying to find some good content providers, and there's not a whole lot of them out there. There are some, and the few that we've seen are pretty good. There's a couple that we find that are really good, but we really think there's a real opportunity for people that want to go out and produce high-quality content and then resell it. I think that's a real shortcoming right now. I think that there is, you want to make sure that the content obviously competes, I think, on a sort of a national level, whether you're talking about weather or sports. I know sports it's hard to get into because of the licensing fees and things like that, but any area like that, I think there's a real opportunity, and I think that's really, for us, we believe internally, and we've had dialogue about this, we think that's real where things really need to be going, is in content development. Well, that's an area where I think we're looking to grow, is in providing richer content. Because, I mean, the medium is very rich in and of itself, and so if you don't provide it with the sort of, you don't feed it that, I mean, it's almost like a wasted meal, if you know what I mean. So we really are looking at getting more engaging content, trying to find other sources. We do a lot of our own content development, so we already know what we do now internally, but I'm talking again about content that would be more news-like or sports-like, but the quality is very, very good. So I was kind of fascinated by something I saw just a little bit ago. It doesn't sound all that novel really when you think about it, but visually it is, because I don't recall seeing much of this in the past. But there's a vendor that has very small LCD panels that are they're long, real long and rectangular, but they play rich content. They're not the typical LED type of sign that you maybe think of when you think about a long rectangular type of sign that just runs, copy across the screen. This guy had, a movie running, and it looked very, very good. And I was thinking, wow, this would be great for me to use in our area where we do a lot of creative media production. So we could just mount it right there to the wall. All you need is power. It doesn't connect to a computer. So you just load content into the USB port, and then it just runs. And to me, that was pretty compelling. It sounds simple, but it's another form factor that is great for certain areas. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to go back and see if we can buy a couple just to test. Well, right now, if you think about what we do, we have physical signs on the wall, right? I mean, in fact, in our area where we produce all this content, everything's digital, but our sign on the wall it's a printed piece of paper. It's a nice piece of paper. It's photo quality, but it's not digital. So this is what struck me as being fascinating, that we could replace that too. So, and it wasn't that expensive. So we haven't done much gestural work, although I'm really interested. Actually, that was another, speaking of technology, I saw another vendor that had he called it a 6-point touch screen. So you could have up to 6 points on the screen and do something with it. I suppose programming that might be a little complicated, but you could have, they were showing two people playing a game with one guy had 2 fingers on one end, 2 fingers on the other, and they were playing this kind of ping pong game. So that's 4 points, right? So imagine you could probably do all kinds of things just adding a couple of points to it. So that whole multi-touch technology, I think, is going to really take off too. If you're asking about technology in another area where I think things might grow, that would be one. As long as it's good quality. It's always my concern about new technology that's developed. A lot of times it's clunky. It doesn't look good. And one of the complaints I guess I've had about some digital signage vendors in the past, and I won't name names, but like something as simple as a scrolling feed, a crawl, it's clunky. It doesn't work well. It doesn't have a broadcast feel, and so I'm always looking for something that's good when it comes out. I don't want to be a guinea pig for it. I'm James Lavine from Lockheed Martin, and I'm at the Digital Signage Expo in Las Vegas. Where are you?